Your palms are sweaty. Your shoulders are up, feeling tense. Mind is racing, thinking of every worst case scenario. It's like you have this overwhelming feeling of impending doom. Welcome to Life with Anxiety. Now, even though there's a ton of research out there as far as what causes anxiety and where it comes from, genetics, a traumatic event, something that happened in childhood, one thing's for certain: if you go through anxiety, you know what it feels like. And in these times of civil unrest, unknown futures, and triggering events, our anxiety can be severely heightened. In fact, it can get to a point where some of the side effects of anxiety just turn out to be downright crippling. My name is Mallory Marie, and today I'm going to share with you 5 ways to not just deal with anxiety, but to accept it and move through it. So let's set the stage. You're going about your day, and then all of a sudden, it starts to happen. Your chest starts to tighten. You start getting a little shifty. You're fidgety. Your shoulders start to raise, your back's starting to tighten, and then all of a sudden the thoughts start racing, and it's negative thought after negative thought, and it's just this downward spiral. And next thing you know, you're in the middle of a lot of really tough anxiety. And what can happen when we're going through all this anxiety is then we try to suppress it, we try to deny it, we try to act like it's not there, to continue to go about our days. And this is when we actually need to pause and just accept that this is how we're feeling right now. In fact, I like to have a little conversation with my anxiety. You know, in movies, when there's always that one like annoying or nosy neighbor that just doesn't seem to go away, treat your anxiety like that, like the nosy neighbor in movies. In fact, when it comes knocking on your door, just breathe and say, "Sup? How you doing, anxiety? I see you. Come here to have a chat." Now, of course, the unexpected drop in of our anxiety is not a favorite situation. We don't want to feel anxious, but fighting it tooth and nail is like avoiding the nosy neighbor. It's just going to keep knocking and keep knocking. And as you continue to suppress it, it's just going to grow louder and louder and louder. So pause and just acknowledge it. Instead of getting defensive, get acceptance. Here we are, anxiety's at the door. We admit that it's there. We accept that it's there. We're having a conversation with it, and it still won't leave. And now we're just sitting here being like, cool. Now I'm just going to hang out with anxiety forever. I know it's there. I've admitted it, but it's not going away. Time for the next tip. But instead of just talking about it, we're going to do it. So indulge with me and close your eyes. No peeking. I'm going to do this too. Get comfortable and take one deep breath in through the nose. Hold it at the top. And exhale through the mouth. Let's do 2 more. Inhale through the nose. Hold it at the top. Exhale through the mouth. Inhale through the nose. Hold it at the top. And exhale through the mouth. Feel better? Good. Me too. Breath is one of the single-handedly most powerful tools that we have. And the best part about it, it's free. And the even better part about it, everybody has access to it. But why does breathing deeply help soothe us so well? Well, there's a million systems in our body, but there's 2 I want to talk about right now: parasympathetic nervous system and the sympathetic nervous system. The sympathetic nervous system is what happens when we focus on that inhale. And it's also the part of the fight or flight reaction. Think about it. When you get scared or startled, you do this, right? You don't do this. Could you imagine if you got scared and you exhaled? You can't even do it. You can't even scream. I digress. So with the sympathetic nervous system being activated when we have those sharp inhales, the parasympathetic nervous system is activated when we focus on the exhale and breathe out. So by focusing on the exhale, activating the parasympathetic nervous system, we are then calming ourselves down. And if you want to get a little bit more experimental with your breath, besides just in through the nose and out through the mouth, I'm going to introduce you to another method that I've been working on whenever anxiety starts to come knocking at my door. And it's a Kundalini method called alternative nostril breathing. And it's exactly that. Literally breathing in and out of one nostril, switching, and then in and out of the next. Looks like this. Give it a roll with me. You ready? Okay. So you take your finger and you're going to lightly, be kind with yourself, plug one side of your nose. And then you're going to go out, remember, all through the nose. In. At the top, switch. And then out through the other side. In. And switch. And you just continue. What this method claims to do is to bring harmony to the left and the right hemispheres of our brain, which are also responsible for the emotional and the logical sides of our personality. Harmony. This next one is probably my favorite technique as far as snapping yourself back into the present moment and working through that anxiety. Let's say you're going through an anxiety attack. Not pleasant. If you've been through them, you understand. And somebody responds to you and says, dude, just shake it off. If anybody ever told me just to shake off my anxiety, I'd be like, excuse me, you clearly do not understand what I'm going through. It's not that easy. Or is it? Recently, I was in an energy class with the amazing Samantha Trinder, which I'll link her down below. And what she had us do to really get into the present moment and just to shake off any negative emotions or any negative energy was to literally shake. It looks like this.
You gotta believe in the fire that's in your soul, so come on and stand up. If you believe in the fire, stand up. You gotta believe in the fire. Come on and stand up. Everybody, let's stand up. Everybody, let's dance.
Have you ever seen a dog, a cat, or even like a bird get into a confrontation and then immediately afterwards they shake? Well, we're similar to that. In fact, trauma expert Steve Haynes says this: we too, like all animals, have the ability to shake it off. We shake involuntarily after intense experiences like being in an accident, giving birth, or after public speaking. Most people are encouraged to stop shaking, but shaking it off is actually a valid thing to do for your nervous system. We don't shake because we are traumatized. We shake as a response. It's a very primitive mechanism to reset muscle tension from a stuck state, release stress, and enhance the mind-body connection. Does it look strange during? Mm-hmm. Does it feel great afterwards? Mm-hmm. Let me tell you, this is one of those things, and I'm all about being experimental when it comes to wellness, but when Samantha Trinder told me to shake it in a class like this, I was like, what am I doing with my body? This is weird. But the feeling afterwards was just somewhat euphoric, and we have to think about it. When we're going through anxiety and maybe we're repressing all these emotions or these stressful situations that are happening, it's a lot of built up energy. Emotions are energy. And if they're starting to build up, they're creating a lot of tension in our body and we're just suffocating them and trying to put them down. They need somewhere to go. So the act of shaking literally does just this. It shakes that out of you. We're accepting, we're breathing, we're shaking, but yet sometimes it's not necessarily what we're going through that's causing us anxiety as much as our environment is causing us anxiety. Right now, we've all been going through lockdown and where we can start to feel a little claustrophobic in our apartments or our homes. And so sometimes the best medicine to cure and work through our anxiety is actually changing our environment, getting out in nature. In a society that treasures hard work and determination over health and well-being the majority of the time, it can be a little frightening to think of taking a break and stepping away. But when it comes to anxiety, this is what we need to be doing, dialing into our mental health awareness and dialing into what our body needs. It's one thing just to go outside and stand outside, but remember, we are really trying to work through that anxiety by helping us ground to the present moment. So one of my favorite techniques as far as grounding to the present moment is called 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Easy enough. So once you're outside, and bonus points if you can take off your shoes and get your toesies in some grass, because that just elevates the whole experience. So the first thing is 5. Right then, as you're standing outside, look around and name 5 things that you can see. Bird, tree, person, car, whatever it is, whatever is in your direct line of vision, just say them out loud. Next is feel. So then you're going to name 4 things that you can feel. I like to close my eyes for this one, whether it's the breeze, the feel of your jacket, maybe the feel of the grass on your toes. Name 4 things that you can feel in that moment while standing outside. Next up is to name 3 things that you can hear. So sitting there in the quiet outside, name 3 things that you can hear. Is it the cars on the freeway? Is it a bird chirping? Is it a car honking? The final 2 experiences that you'll name are 2 things that you can smell and 1 thing that you can taste. So when it comes to smells, I know I was walking the other day and everybody, I guess, started barbecuing. So it literally smelled like Dodger Stadium, hot dogs everywhere. But it was great. And taste is an interesting one, especially if you're just standing outside. But really, have you ever taken the moment just to realize what your mouth tastes like? Interesting. One of my go-tos, getting grounded out in nature using the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 technique. Give it a whirl. And the final recommendation that I'll be sharing with you as far as moving through anxiety is actually more preventative maintenance than anything, but it has become a daily habit of mine that I've now had for about 1.5 years. And that is CBD. CBD is always a very fun conversation for me to have with friends, family, or clients because they're always like, oh my gosh, that's a drug. That's got marijuana in it. And do some CBD products have THC in it that cause you to get high? Absolutely. But the one that I'm recommending right now is just straight CBD. CBD is a chemical that is found in the cannabis plant. But CBD on its own does not cause any intoxication or high feelings that you might get when using THC or the full cannabis plant. Now, although there is still a lot of research to be done around CBD, a lot of the current research is stating that CBD can have a positive effect on our serotonin signals. Now, serotonin is a neurotransmitter that plays an important role in your mental health. It's pretty much the feel-good transmitter in your body. And since I'm all about transparency here, I'm actually going to show you some of the products that I personally use. So for my daytime, this is my go-to. So I currently am using CBD Soul CBD, and it's 500 milligrams is the dosage. It's a little dropper. Comes in great flavors like watermelon mint and lemon lime. But all I do is I take this, I put it underneath my tongue first thing in the morning, and it just evens me out. I'm just a happy camper, you know? That's it. You don't really notice it, guys. It's not like a high. It's not all of a sudden I'm like, whoa, the CBD just hit. No, it just keeps you at a level keel throughout the entire day. At night, if I've had a rather stressful day, I'll then go to this one. This is the 1500 milligram one. So it's just triple the dosage, but it'll actually just help me get into sleep mode a lot faster, especially if my brain has been going 1,000,000 miles a minute. Other popular forms of taking CBD daily are, I've seen the droppers, but there's also CBD gummies that are all the rage right now. Do your research, talk to your doctor, ask me for my opinion. Me personally, I'm a CBD advocate. And there you have it, my 5 recommendations for how I personally move through anxiety and get through those emotions. And it's accepting, breathing, shaking, grounding, and CBDing all day, every day. I am a strong advocate in improving mental health and addressing anxiety disorders that are pretty much taking over the world by storm, especially with what's going on right now. I feel now more than ever, sharing these tips and sharing best practices and just talking about how we're doing, how we're really doing, is so vital in the well-being of humanity. Because if we want to make a change out there, then we have to take care of what's in here. I'm Mallory Marie, and I'll see you next week.